Hello everyone and welcome to another News Coolum video. And again, I'm starting in the somewhat middle of a trip, already 58 miles in, but I'm here at the vet's. I need to drop off a couple of cats to be spayed. And, you know, one of the reasons, just to explain channel-wise, why I haven't been able to go on a whole lot of trips is because I am on a waiting list. Just whenever there's an opening to try to get some of the final female cats on the property spayed so they can't have any more kittens. And so, yeah, I got a call yesterday, last minute, like I was expecting. They have a couple of openings, so I'm taking a couple of the wild young ladies to get fixed. And luckily I made it through this without a scratch. Yeah, so anyway, I'm going to go ahead and drop them off and then, you know, take advantage of being around here just so I can check out some of the charging sites that are going in and just see if some of them are up, see if some of them are working, maybe if I have some better luck with them, and then just see some of the progress or whatnot. This trip shouldn't require me to charge, but I might want to plug in and charge up anyway. Along the way, I don't know if I'm going to need to come back tonight to get them. They might want to hold the two ladies over the night, just to make sure that they're healthy enough to go back. So and the reason I wanted to bring that up too is, I mean, I know some people are probably just trolling or whatever, or they just don't understand maybe what the intent is with this channel. But you know, if I make 5, 6, 7, 8 charging stops over the course of a 200-mile shopping trip, I'm not doing that because I need to charge, right? I could literally do the entire trip on a single battery charge. I'm doing that to showcase the chargers that are available in the case that you do need to charge. And, you know, we're all still sort of feeling this out. And I don't like to be too prescriptive about what does work, what doesn't work. I mean, there are some things that are objectively, I think, could be done better. And I call those things out. But, you know, this is why I push back on people who say there's really only one mode, you know, to use an EV, and it's basically a cannonball run and you need to be able to charge in 5 minutes and drive 300 miles between stops. That's not how a lot of people use their EVs. And we're going to get to a point where this plethora of charging options is going to allow for shorter range EVs to maybe make a comeback and maybe finally give, you know, some cheaper options for people who just, you know, they don't need more than 150 to 200 miles of range. And so showing these chargers along the way also gives that opportunity to say, hey, look, these can integrate into your trip. I show you the amenities and where these chargers are. So you realize, oh, I was going to stop here anyway. I was going to be in this location anyway for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, 40 minutes. The fact that there's a charger there, this is how it works, this is how you can access it, this is how much I would pay to use it. I think that's valuable information. So without further ado, like I said, I got to get the ladies in and we'll hit the road. All right, just a quick stop here in Orland at the pilot. Just wanted to see they're making pretty decent progress on the Owl construction company, and this is actually a subcontractor working with Owl. So I think Owl is maybe doing the overarching like logistics of it, and then whatever, I don't know the exact subcontractor that's working for them on this particular site, but they're definitely making progress. They have all of the trees and things like that removed. They're already trenching, running conduit, you know, just getting ready for, it looks like, again, this is going to be a canopy site, but I don't know if this is going to be a full pull through. I guess we'll have to see once they do the final configuration, but I'm kind of thinking it won't be, which is unfortunate. That leaves a gap on this route for people who are actually driving bigger EVs that are going to be towing. You know, if you pay any attention at all to some of my videos here in Northern California, A lot of people have trucks and a lot of people tow trailers. And it's a pretty regular occurrence that you see long format vehicles. And as we transition to electric, we're going to be seeing long format electric vehicles in this area. So this is one of those charging providers that if they're not going to do anything else, right, Pilot, if they're not going to do anything else, I think they need to emphasize those full pull-through parking stalls to accommodate larger EVs with trailers. They're partnering with GM. GM is selling the most capable EVs in terms of towing capability. It would just make sense that 90, 95, and especially up here in Northern California, 100% of these Pilot locations are full pull through, not pull in, nose in charging stalls. All right, so I got most of my grocery shopping done, but I'm over here on this side of town where all of the side of Chico, where all of the hardware stores are, because I need to pick up some more hardware stuff. So yeah, I figured I would stop by the ChargeTronix. Now, this is a site that I visited before. It was technically before it was opened. I mean, these have all been powered on, so I'm assuming they're open right now. I want to just go ahead and see if I can get it started with a credit card. I and another EV driver, a Ford Lightning driver, we weren't able to get it. I wasn't able to get it started on my end. He even called, wasn't able to get it started. And so it looked like everything was running off of an account or an app, and neither of us was interested in downloading that. So a little bit of commentary here, because I know Patrick and Liv, I think it's their main channel, their Mach E vlog, but also they have another EV channel too, but they were interviewing the people from ChargeTronix, and they have a bunch of different hardware, so it appears that maybe they're making it. So I do have some criticisms of this hardware, and maybe it won't fall on deaf ears. All right, so that was another fail. I only allow so many fails before I give up on a site for a fairly long time. So these are still powered up. It looks like it might be possible to charge with an app, but their payment reader failed again twice. I mean, otherwise the interface isn't necessarily bad. One thing I will say is if you plug in first, it will just sit there loading, and then you actually have to say, hey, start this one that I just plugged in, right? And so but again, not taking a card, and one of the card readers is clearly down. And then just in terms of my criticism for ChargeTronix is on this site specifically, there's no need for cables this heavy, right? Again, these are 100 kilowatt chargers. They only need 200 amp cables. But the other thing is just fundamental to the design of the charger itself. The docks where you are, putting your cord cable back in after you're done, they're just way too low to the ground. Even when they're up on a curb, I still have to bend down a little bit to plug it in. And when they're just flush mounted on the ground, like the ADA compliant stall, that's just, you're asking people to bend all the way over to plug them back in, and there's a reason why people are just looping them over basically the cable retention harness on the side. So just in terms of a hardware design, they need to ditch, whoever designed this, they need to ditch those front mounted adapter plates for the cables, and either move them higher up no matter what, but maybe possibly to the side, because as it is, even if your intent was, we didn't want the cable draping on the ground, the cable's still draping on the ground. So yeah, I would actually just ditch the cable wraps on the side, and then move the plug holsters onto the side, at least a foot further up on the unit. So that's the other big criticism I have for this. Oh, and Walter, this is in a parking lot with a Raley's, which, you know, you'd asked about in another one of your update videos. It's a grocery store here in California, so it's a good location for chargers. Anyway, I'm going to finish up my shopping and head home. Like I said, I have frozen stuff in the cooler, so we can't dilly-dally. Shopping is done, grabbed some stuff from Lowe's. Actually spoke with a guy who's a licensed electrician, said he still does work. So when I was picking some stuff up, he was basically telling me where I could get like the electrical code, things like that, just to make sure that I'm not doing anything stupid. But yeah, we're gonna head out, and then I might stop by a couple charging locations on the way in, but or on the way back home. But like I said, I have some frozen stuff, so I want to get home as quick as possible, and I do need to figure out if I need to turn around and head back down again and pick up the ladies. It'll probably be well, I won't have a whole lot of time at home, so I'll have to charge up while I'm there, or I will have to charge up on the road, because once I do this trip twice, now it's over 200 miles, and a lot of it is freeway driving. AC's been running the whole time, that sort of thing. So yeah, let's hit the road. And in case you're wondering, no, we cannot charge there. All right, well, I just wanted to do this is on the way out, so I figured I would just do a quick stop here just to check. But this is that EVgo site here in Chico, you know, located right at a Mexican food restaurant. This was the Cal EVIP, I think, grant or whatever that was paying for this. So this isn't technically a GM Energy site, so I'm just not sure what's going on with this, what's wrong with the hardware, the equipment, the payments, the contracts. I don't know, but I think EVgo needs to explain that, and someone needs to figure out how they can get these chargers online, because they're really good ones just off the highway, like I said, at a restaurant in a fairly busy town, on an, you know, a road entering and exiting the town. So yeah, they need to get these chargers, you know, fixed and up and running as soon as they can. All right, so we made it home. It turns out I put in the directions and we just didn't cross any of the chargers that I was going to check on the way back. But also with that, you know, we arrived with about 25% battery. At about 12:30, I plugged in on our level 2 AC. And so I'm actually probably only going to be able to add about 50 miles of range, based on the time that I plugged in, and then the time that I'm not going to need to head back down again. This is something where I ran into trouble before doing this run, getting another cat fixed, but the difference is when that happened, it was because the power had gone out, right? So I literally wasn't able to, I left on less than a full charge, and I wasn't able to charge at home. So that changes things a little bit. So I might or might not need to charge on the trip. It depends on what the weather is. Like I said, AC use, things like that. But I'm going to go ahead and just, you know, go through the rest of my routine like I normally do, and leave with whatever it is I've charged up to since I've been home. All right, so it's been about 2 hours and 15 minutes, sorry, since I plugged in. Just got a call from the vets that the girls are ready to go, or will be in about an hour when I get down there. So now need to head down, and like I said, we only added about 25%. Looks like the average range right now is 106 that's listed. It's only charging at 4 kilowatt right now, which means that a lot of this is battery conditioning too. It's only reading 93 degrees, but we're in the shade. But I know that it's over 100 right now. Oh, we're up to 5 kilowatt. So I just need to round up the little boy, and we're heading back down, and I probably will need to at least stop and charge a little bit on my way back up. All right, well, this is another CalTrans fail. So I decided on the way to the vet that I would just try to see if I could plug in for like 5 minutes, because I think just based on the amount of energy that I'm using, I am going to have to at least plug into a DC fast charger for about 5 to 10 minutes. I didn't want to do it after I picked up the ladies, but it looks like I'm going to have to now. So this is the northbound Willows rest area. And the big problem with this is the screen is dead, right? And so if your only ability to activate is through the screen and it doesn't default to charging right away, basically it requires you to interact. Well, a dead screen that you can't interact with means you can't charge. So this is a big fail for CalTrans. The charger might actually work. There's no way of telling, but because you can't interface with the charger, there's no app that you can use, there's no web portal or anything else. It's just a dead screen, which BTC Power, their screens just die regularly. And then this one is right out in the sun, so not a big surprise there. So anyway, I can't waste any more time. I need to get to the vets before 4 o'clock. So I'm gonna turn the AC back on, head over, pick up the ladies, and then we'll just have to find another place to charge on the way back. All right, well, just spill water on yourself. Yeah, you did. All right, well, the ladies are with us, and we shall return. But like I said, I have a hair over a quarter tank, and yeah, we're going uphill freeway. So I'm going to try to do a quick stop. I'm just looking at the app for Electrify America at Walmart, and it just looks like it's going to be stupid. So I'm going to actually swing by the EVgo at the Black Bear and see if that's a little bit more painless. It's only 50 kilowatt, but if it's working and it starts right away, I only need maybe 5 minutes to top up and get up the hill. So let's not dawdle. And there's a diesel idling next to us. We better go. All right, well, this is the Willows CalTrans rest area southbound. I figured I would try one more time in case I maybe pressed the screen on the wrong side the last time. Still didn't work, still didn't activate. And when I pressed that screen, it was hot, right? 110, 120 degrees easily. So, I mean, BTC Power, again, already has kind of suspect screen quality, and then you throw it into a charger that's facing the sun and has very little to no shade. Those screens are going to burn out in a matter of weeks, if not, you know, not even less than that. And then you set it up so that it can only be activated and started through touchscreen. Yeah, it's just basically it's a recipe for disaster, and it's something CalTrans at this point might as well just rip these units out. Ideally replace them, but they're not going to serve any purpose the way they decided to, you know, install them. I think they really need to consult someone who actually has experience with you know, DC fast charging, with public charging infrastructure, with layouts, installs, designs, because there are about a half dozen things here that even a novice EV traveler could have pointed out to CalTrans and said, don't do that, do this instead. So yeah, it just kind of shows the complete lack of experience and understanding of what it's like to drive and travel in an EV. You know, that you put millions of dollars in the hands of people that have no framework or frame of reference, and this is what you're going to get. So all right, well, hopefully EVgo works better. EVgo to the rescue. Leandrin. And hey, actually, you know, this is one of those things that I was saying too, why the Walmart across the street, it still frustrates me, right, that Electrify America across the street, but it doesn't frustrate me as much because I always knew that there were these EVgo's on the other side. And frankly, this is a much better stop if you're stopping for a meal. Even if you're not going to eat at the Black Bear, there are like 2 or 3 other restaurants all within a very short, like, walking distance of these chargers, right off the freeway. So really the only issue I would have with them is that they're only 50 kilowatt, right? But what I also noticed is this is now missing the level 2 AC post, which was just maybe not even getting used. I don't know. EVgo could probably speak to that. But there is room to add additional chargers. So if they have the power drop and they have the power capacity, and obviously if Black Bear is open to the idea of it, they could plant two 350 kilowatt split power units here, and it would become an exceedingly preferable site for travelers, because you're right at the restaurant. You now have 175 kilowatt per stall with two other 50 kilowatt stalls. And so slower EVs like the Bolt EV, smaller battery EVs like the Bolt EV, Nissan Leaf, whatever, can use the 50 kilowatt, but you'll actually draw in those other customers that you're missing out on because they're traveling, but even stopping for a meal, they don't want to stop at a 50 kilowatt charger. So I think it's a huge opportunity for EVgo if they want to expand this site. And there are the slots for it looks like the conduit for it, parking spaces for it. Yeah, so anyway, I don't know how much I'm going to charge up to, probably 30% maybe, but I'm going to turn the AC on now. It's hot, and I just want to give myself a little bit of a buffer before we head out. Oops, I got a little too distracted enjoying the air conditioning and playing with my phone, but we're actually almost to 35% now, so we are good to go. And I should have a buffer too. And either way, I'm probably going to take it a little bit easier going up, because like I said, I'm taking the smooth, longer way back just because the girls are getting out of surgery. So yeah, let's hit the road. There you have it. 270.8 miles total. Used 73.1 kilowatt hour. Okay, so yeah, and it didn't turn orange while coming back up, which meant that if it went orange, it meant that there was absolutely no way that I could have made it up with what I had remaining when I plugged in. So I think even seeing this, yeah, it would have been, I would have been rolling in at maybe 1%. Just not worth the risk when it's hot. And I've, like I said, I've got the cats in the back that need to be moved in, almost 100 degrees. So yeah, there's no reason to risk that, but I did charge for longer than I needed to. That was just me, like I said, enjoying the AC and getting distracted on my phone a little bit. But the other good news is they have one more opening this Friday, which means I should be able to take one more of the remaining problem children in to get her spayed, and that leaves me only one after that, plus the kittens that they left me with. So hooray, I'm almost done kind of sorting out this feral cat issue. But that being said, like I said, I don't have much else to do, and really it's kind of one of the other things about it is any other one of those chargers, had I stopped at and charged for 5 minutes on the DC charger, would have eliminated that, you know, need to go out of the way in the end. So it kind of showcases that some of these chargers were just put in without a whole lot of thought and not a whole lot of planned upkeep. And so there's just some disappointments sort of all the way around. Like even EVgo isn't above criticism there. They have that site in Chico that would have been a great site to stop and use, and it's been down for months and months and months. And at this point, like, again, just like the CalTrans sites, what's the point in it even being there? And I think that's what we're going to start to see moving forward with a lot of this charging infrastructure, is stranded assets, or assets that business just doesn't feel are worth upgrading, upkeeping, whatever the case may be. And that's unfortunate, because that's sadly that's where a lot of the government money went, right? Is into the chargers with CPOs that don't really have an interest in actually keeping them, up and keeping them running, and they weren't installed as a for-profit venture, right? Whereas some of these other newer chargers, they're going in affiliated with automakers in order to sell EVs, so that's a profit motive there. And then some of them, like Electric Era, appear to be going in with the purpose of making a profitable charging network, because they cut out the demand fees, they get the high usage, and they get to a decent margin on the energy that they sell. So they have a compelling reason to keep those chargers up and running and serving the public. So anyway, again, just a random 270-mile day in the Bolt EV. But like I said, I'm going to get the ladies into the air conditioning and see if they need some food, and just kind of keep them comfortable until they're ready to be released again. So watch out, world. As always, thank you for watching.